Hi, YouTube family. Welcome back to Recording Movies Recap. Today I will show you an action thriller film from 2008 titled Terra. On the cold hills of a deserted island, Jilin is trying to find a safe spot to camp. He walks for miles until he slips and falls into a freezing river, but after floating away for a while, he manages to climb out and continue his journey. When he gets too tired to keep going, he stops to rest against a big rock, grabs a flower to eat, and begins thinking back to how all this started. Jilin is in jail for life for the assassination of 6 men, when one afternoon, he's taken to see the prison governor, who asks him what he dreams of. He isn't the only person going through this. Various of his fellow prisoners are also being called to the governor's office and are asked the same question. Moryak says he wants to see the sea, Yakut wants to witness the war against China, Obazianka won't speak, Obezian wants to work in this prison and be a governor, Tolia wants to follow the progress of the space station, and Sipa wants to see women again, but Jilin's answer is never shown. The governor tells them they've been selected to be transferred to a penal colony, and shortly afterward, all prisoners are boarded into a ship. Just like in the actual prison, the prisoners are divided into groups and put into cells, although Obezian acts like he is the boss, and even kills a man to take his bed. When the hatch is finally closed and the boat takes off, the prisoners start panicking, thinking this has all been a trick to let them die at sea. As the men begin getting violent, Jilin remembers a conversation he had with Sipa back in prison. Sipa has some severe mental issues and would always draw on the wall and talk nonsense. But that day, he mentioned heaven and hell not having any seats left and a third purgatory-like place being prepared for people like them. Jillian had thought it was more of his usual nonsense back then, but he's starting to see the merits of it now. After a while, everyone calms down and tries to spend the trip chit-chatting and eating, but in the middle of the journey, a gang escapes from one of the cells, looking for their compatriot. Obezian pretends to negotiate at first only to kill the man they're looking for, causing a riot to start. Prisoners on both sides begin hitting and killing each other through the bars except for Steri, an old man that stays behind praying. The fight doesn't last long though. The guards quickly arrive and after stopping them with a warning shot, they throw a sleeping gas grenade to knock them all out. Eventually, they make it to a deserted island where the prisoners are put into numbered handcuffs and left at the beach so they can listen to what Mr. Olafsson and Marta, the heads of the Terra Nova project, have to say. Since the death penalty has become illegal in all countries, prisons have been running out of space to hold such a large number of criminals, which is why the Russian government has offered this land to start this project, funded by some international organizations. Starting today, the prisoners are colonists living under their protection, and everything they need to survive is being provided, including food that should last 3 months. A satellite will be watching them all the time, and there also are some communication buoys around. They have the possibility to take a boat to one of them to press the red button and say what they need. If a green light appears, that means the request has been accepted. Obezian isn't happy about the idea of being recorded 24/7, so he throws a big rock in protest, but the guards quickly make him stand back with some warning shots. Marta clarifies that the buoys can also be used to ask to leave the project by saying their name and the reason why they want to leave. If they do, they'll be returned to prison. By putting the buoys on the sea instead of on the beach, they make sure that the decision is thought twice before risking getting on a boat. Before leaving, the guards drop a bunch of keys on the sand, explaining they are numbered to match their handcuffs. The prisoners rush towards them and start fighting over them while Jilin and Sipa stay safely behind, only grabbing the keys that the others drop. Steri also decides to stay behind and watch how a gang forms a line around the keys to keep their rivals out, and a group goes to the crates the guards left to pick up some weapons and attack the crowd with them. Eventually, Ollie's gang takes control of the situation. Ollie gets a jacket and good shoes for himself and Steri before choosing a man to send out on the boat, but as soon as he grabs someone, the group takes the chance to attack and the fight starts again. Dozens of men die in the Fight Moryak kills Ollie with a rock, Obezian kills Sterry also with a rock, and the three men that get on a boat to reach the buoy fall to the sea and die drowning. All the remaining prisoners go to the warehouse and begin distributing the supplies, and Obezian takes advantage of the tools found to get his cuffs open by force. Jilin packs a bunch of supplies in a bag and grabs himself a jacket while listening to Sipa say there is no way the food will last 3 months. Eventually, Marta arrives at the island with a bunch of guards. They use gas to keep the men away, but they do allow Jilin come to talk to her and discuss the list of things they've requested. She's confused on why they're asking for gas, and he explains it's for the generators, which are supposed to be wind-powered but they don't work during the polar night. In truth, they want the gas for the plane. Jilin takes the chance to ask why they didn't answer Sipa's SOS message, and Marta explains their satellite is of the infrared kind they see heat. So they can locate people and stoves, but not words. She also wants to know what people were doing so far away from the base some days ago, and he tells her they were fishing, which she finds very shocking. They also want to know how many of the original 206 colonists are left, which Jilin finds suspicious because they should be able to tell with their satellite. He tells them 87 are left, and many are sick, but nobody wants to abandon the project and return to jail. Before Jilin leaves, Marte tells him he has the right to one personal request, so he gives her a few sheets of paper asking her to provide the group well. Once the guards have left the new supplies, Jilin and his men try the gas in the plane hidden in the hangar and happily confirm it does work. Afterward, they watch a new group of American prisoners arrive as the guards and Marta leave the island. These prisoners have a leader too, a very large man that Jilin tries to shake hands with. The man doesn't take it. In fact, he hits Jilin, which triggers a fight between both sides. The encounter is brutal and nobody hesitates to go for the kill, so Sipa drags Jilin with him to hide him in the workshop. One of the Americans tries to follow them, but he falls on Tolia's trap and instantly dies. Arzanov goes up against the American leader and gets overpowered, but before he can get killed, Amerbek cuts in and kills the big man instead as the buildings around them catch on fire. All this is being watched by the heads of the project. When they realize the situation is finally out of control and that over 40% of the colony has been killed, Marta calls the central office and is told to proceed with Code Naked Island, which sends a bunch of guards to the island that shoots all the reminder prisoners while Marta burns Jilin's letters. Luckily, a few men are still alive thanks to having hidden in the mountains or the hangar, Jilin, Sipa, Arzanov, and Tolia. Together, they push the plane out, but when they're about to board it, Sipa tells them goodbye and runs to the hills so he can jump into the ocean, not afraid anymore. The remaining trio gets in the plane and Jilin manages to make it take off safely, although the guards shoot at them on the way. His two companions die, but Jilin isn't hit by the bullets, so he flies away into his freedom. Thanks for watching.